5.5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Good evening to you, Trinidad and Tobago, and wherever else you are listening to us, maybe on the World Wide Web. We want to welcome you to Men Talk here on Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. And what exactly is Men Talk? Well, as the words say, men talking. That's what it's about. This is a time we have set aside every Saturday from 8 to 9:30 where men get together and to do just that, talk. Because we know talk is important. Talk created the universe. Talk causes us to do great miracles. Talk brings healing. Talk brings restoration. Talk brings marriages. Yeah. Talk brings a lot of things. And so we understand the importance of talk. But we also understand the importance of men talking. And we want to encourage men to talk. When you talk, you empty yourself so that you can be filled again. When you talk, we get to understand how you feel, what you think, where you hurt, so that we can help. And so we have created this program. We've been doing this for about 16 years now, more than 16 years, every week, one day per week, every week for the last 16 years. We have been talking, and we have been getting great results in talking. So we continue today, as any other Saturday at 8 o'clock. And so if you're new to the program, well, we want to let you know it's an interactive program where we have a discussion, and somewhere along the way we bring you in on the discussion. We give you an opportunity to ask a question or to make a comment based on what you have heard or what you've seen, because we are also live, not just on Isaac 98.1 FM, but we are live on FBN TV, that's our YouTube channel, and also Isaac the Promise, that's our Facebook page, so you can see as well as listen. And so we give you the chance to call in and ask your questions or make your comments. However, when we do that, and listen very carefully, especially if you're a female, we only accept call from males, males. However, that's the usual. However, last week and this week we've made an exception. Yeah, we've made an exception because we have a female guest. We usually have only male guests on the program, but because, over the years, women have been saying that men have been talking and talking and talking, and there's only so far we can get with talking if we don't include the ladies. And we have heard their cry, their request, their call, and so we have opened up just last week and this week. It's not going to be a norm because the program is still Men Talk. We have opened up the lines to hear from the ladies because they want to tell us what they want. That's right. We started last week and we're going to continue this week. But before we get into it, I want to introduce my co-host. George is not here this evening. He's a little bit under the weather, but Riquen Allen is here. So, Riquen, good evening and welcome. Let me see. Where's Riquen? Where's Riquen located? Riquen, are you there?
Yes, I am, Professor. Good evening to you. Good evening to our listening audience.
Well, it's good to have you here, Riquen. And you're ready and raring to go because we really do want to hear from the ladies what they want. And so they started to tell us last week. And so we are anxious to hear what they have to say. But I know George is a little bit under the weather. So, we just prayed for a speedy recovery for George. But you are here tonight and I am here. And, MadonnaJ, Woman of Promise, is here with us again this evening to share with us on behalf of the ladies, on behalf of the women, what women want. And so we want to introduce her now, or introduce her for tonight because she needs no introduction. We want to bring her in and welcome her to Men Talk. She made history last evening, and so she's back again to continue with the history-making session. Madonna, good evening and welcome.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
How are you doing? Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great.
Wonderful.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you here. We really want to hear from the ladies. A lot of times, women say, man, they don't listen to what we have to say. Well, we are listening. We listened last week, and we're going to listen this week. But before we actually get into it again, folks, if you've been hearing the promo, we asked a question, and it came out from last week, one of the things that was shared last week. We asked a question, and we want you to come in on it very early so you can call in even while we are having a discussion. And the question is, in fact, I think I want to run over the promo again so that just in case you missed it, this is what it says. Last Saturday on Men Talk, we asked the question, what do women want from us men? This Saturday, we continue the discussion with our returning guest, woman of promise, MadonnaJ. We also want to answer the question, a woman has been putting aside money for a rainy day unknown to her husband, and it has accumulated to a tidy sum. The relationship comes to an end. Who does the money belong to? Is it hers? Is it theirs? We want you to answer that question. So join the Men Talk team of George Thomas, Riquen Allen, and me, Noel Professor Richards, on Saturday, 14th May, 8 p.m. for What Women Want Part 2 on FBN TV, Isaac The Promise Facebook page, and Isaac 98.1 FM The Promise. Sponsored by Anaya Tony, the Feet Lady. All right, so you heard the question. She's been putting aside money. You know, women have the knack, the ability, the skill, the whatever you want to call it, to do that. You know, you give them $100 and they somehow they take a tithe out of it. They hide a tithe, if you can put it that way, unknown to us men. And we used to find out a lot when I was growing up. You know, women just took that money and put it aside for a rainy day. But what happens if something the relationship goes sour or goes south, as they say, and that money has been put aside? Who does it belong to? When it especially if it accumulates to be a big sum, who does it belong to? So we want to let you. You see, come on, Madonna, come on. I don't know it's that simple.
It is.
I don't think it's that simple at all. Because she has been putting aside money, you know, for the relationship, for him and her.
Right, but
it can't be hers now.
But Professor, what if, right, she gets an allowance and it's like a child? If you give your child an allowance and they save it, that money isn't yours. That money is the child, because the child was saving the allowance. So if she has an allowance and she chooses to save it because she may not be a spendthrift as a husband, then if something goes sour, why it should be her husband's money when it was her allowance? They both were getting money and she chose to save hers.
Yeah, but Madonna, an allowance is one thing, you know. Allowance is yours. But we're talking about money putting aside from the relationship. And he doesn't know. With an allowance, I would know. I would know you getting an allowance.
Yeah, but you would know if she's saving it. No, you would know if she's saving it, because she's not to account to you.
So why would she want to save it in the first place?
I mean, why should she want to save it?
She's saving it for the relationship.
Because
she's saving it for us.
But in saving it for the relationship, and it is better for the family at that time, remember, it's her allowance she's saving in any event. So she's not supposed to account to you in that depth that I'm saving this, honey. No, she's putting it aside. And I think that is really micromanaging and controlling for you to. She's supposed to tell you every time she's saving.
No, I'm not saying I have to know.
Oh.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I have to know. But I'm saying if at a particular point where the relationship comes to an end, then that money that was put aside doesn't belong to just her.
Why it doesn't belong to her when you didn't want to know? You just said you didn't want to know.
I'm glad she's putting it aside. I am happy with the fact that it was put aside. Yeah, it was put aside, but it wasn't put aside for you.
It was her money and she put it aside for her. It wasn't for you.
Well, we'll hear what the people have to say. So, folks, you can call in, you know, at any time. And, of course, let me give you the numbers one time. Actually, we have somebody on the line already. But let me just call the number 480-4121 and 463-7208. Hello, good evening.
I am making history this week. First female to call.
You go, girl.
Congratulations to you. First female.
Thank you.
Okay, so Professor, you're making us feel as though just a little personal, the way I be passionate.
No, not impersonal. Don't try that. Don't try that. My wife will tell you any money she's saving is for us. Go ahead.
That's what you know about.
I'm a husband and a wife, right? She's home. He is giving her an allowance, 85% of the times the woman is going to save if she's a housewife. Well, most of the times if she's a housewife and she's home and he's giving her allowance, she's saving. Because from way back granny time, when my grandfather would have given her money, she would save. Right? Now, when my grandmother passed away, we came up and found about $15,000 in the matches. I was like, where does money come from? You know? So in a case like that, that was her personal allowance, right? Now scenario number 2, the relationship goes south and you giving her money all the time. Unless if it is said that, listen, you are saving for the family, this what I'm giving you is for the family for a rainy day, fine. I could understand that. Relationship goes south, we need to share it or whatever like that. Right? But if it is the female allowance, Professor, you are giving me allowance every month. And, you know, I put aside at 25 or 100 or whatever it may be, and it accumulates more than, let's say, $10,000. Come on, Professor, that is my money.
Wait, but what you saving it for?
Not we.
What you saving it for?
Okay, and I realized last week.
It's saving for
listen.
The relationship going south is a rainy day.
I realized since last week you were very adamant to say that, right? Now, if I am saving it for a rainy day, husband, wife, I am saving it, I taking it upon myself to save it, Professor. Okay, you don't know about it. Okay, that is my rainy day. Come there because you leave me and you're gone. That's my rainy day.
I love you. Oh, rainy day comes, so you're gone. It's so money.
We have another call. Hello, good evening. You're on the air. Like we can't bring in Riquen yet, but hello, good evening.
Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Brother, I understand what you're trying to say. I mean,
you would understand.
If it is your expect that wifey save the funds for a rainy day, then it shouldn't be called an allowance. An allowance, if you're giving wifey an allowance, that is hers. If something is to happen, it's because you gave her that money outside of funds that you would rest down for a rainy day. That's hers to do whatever she wishes. Do her nails, do her hair, etc., etc. But we can't depend on that on a rainy day.
Exactly. You see, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You see, what he's saying, and this is what I am saying. If I give you X amount of money and say this is your allowance, that's one thing. If you choose to save it, spend it, whatnot. But this is money for the family to run the household. You are running the household, and in running the household, they decide, well, you know what? I wouldn't use all the money to buy groceries or whatever. I'll put aside some money. That can't be yours.
But you know, explaining that part of it where it's to run the house. No. We first had the money up in the air and we're now dividing the money. Because women save money for the integrity of the family, right?
One second caller, yes.
So in saving that so that she can give you a pullout when that time comes, then that's different. You talking about the woman stealing from you then?
Well, it will amount to that.
Make it clear.
It will amount to that. Hello, good evening. You on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I believe I was the person who is responsible for this discussion tonight.
Really?
No, right. All to say, right? My take was this, that when she came and she told me that she had the money, right? I was upset, right? But I didn't dispute it because she told me that that she was saving the money just in case that anything happened to us, we don't have to go to anybody and borrow any money, anything like that, right? But what I am saying, for all through the years, we have an open discussion. I just sit down at the table and we should decide that when I get a salary, how we're going to spend this money, if you owe anybody any money, we pay them that money, wherever the case may be, right? So when as I told you last time, we had a small business, right? And many times I would be cleaning the place and I would find large sums of money, like 5,000, 8,000, and those days those were plenty money, right? So, and then when I asked her, what is money doing here? She would say, oh, guys, wrap that money. I didn't really question it because it's my wife. And I would like to believe that she had good intentions, right? Now, after the marriage come and dissolve, about last year, so she telling me she have enough money to buy a house and a land outside. She just give her 2 years again. And then because I move out my house, give them the house to stay, right? Because at the end of the day, I still thinking that whatever I have and whatever she have, my children will inherit it. You understand? And if she feel that she do me a evil, right? I still, in back of my mind, I still believe that my children will inherit it because she did nobody else, you know. At the point in time she backslide, I did too, right? And she knows she get back, she got together, but we still not together, right? But we still had discussion concerning children anything I provide for it.
So she saves up, so she saved a whole lot of money, so much so she could buy house and land, and you didn't know anything about it.
I have a question for the caller.
Right? I didn't know anything about it. But when she told me that last year, she just got up and she went inside one time.
Caller, I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
I'd like to find out because we all know as adults, before the relationship goes sour, that people see it would have been going sour for some time.
Yeah.
Right? And you never suspected that she would have been accumulating money for when it totally went sour. Because that don't just happen today for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? So, in your suspicions, when she said that to you, didn't you suspect it? Because you said you used to see pockets of money in the house at different points in time?
Yeah.
So you would have suspected it way before that day?
All right. Well, what happened when she said the first batch of money, you accumulated $80,000. Right, and she come and she told me about that. Right, I was upset at the time, but I didn't really question it. Right, we take that money and we buy a 7-seater bus. Right.
Okay. So you use that for both of you.
The business was still running all that time. So when the marriage done starting to go forward at that point in time. So from that time till the marriage come and dissolve, which is years, about 10 years after me. Marriage come and dissolve, right? She was accumulating, like she don't realize like what was going on, and she started taking
right, so Professor, you would see how that went on.
I wasn't giving her allowance or anything like that because at the end of the day, I never will say like go in the drawer, take out $10 or $20 or $100, put it in my pocket and say, well this is mine. I never did that. All my pay packets used to come I used to work taxi too. Right, while my business was running, I will roughly working for about $7,000 per day.
So my question is, did you have a savings as well?
We didn't have no.
Did you personally have a savings
because she was doing all the financial
managing
all right, okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Now we better inform.
All right, okay.
Now we better inform.
We take one more call on it as we have a call on the line and we want to move on. Hello, good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, good day, everyone.
Good day.
Good evening.
That's an honest question, lady. When you ask that, most people will know that if a man is going to the water,
yeah, that's why I asked that question,
but because very often, or more often than sometimes when these things go into sour, people don't know it. When they hear it separated or it comes to a point where they separate, then they will know
the other people, yeah.
But then in a case like this, it's a state and process. Everything have a moral side and a legal side. Now the moral side of it is that if you go to the moral side, is the question involved is that the money should be shared equally because it was saved for a particular purpose. And it's better to go to try to settle it outside because if he has to go to the court with that, it would win. It would have to be shared. So share it one time. Right? Right? Because the legal side is that it should be shared. Right.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
All right, so folks, we thank you so much for sharing with us. I know we still have more callers on the line, but we need to move on. We need to move on because we want to hear from the ladies what they want. Yes, what women want. We started sharing, Madonna started sharing that last week, and so I want to ask you to continue to share with us. Madonna, over to you.
All right. So, well, I spoke to a few women as well, just to get a sense of, what they are talking, what they would want. And, it would vary in seasons of your life as well. Another thing that stood out was, and I said stood out, and you're one who makes jokes. So we like men who would stand up for us, right? And contrary to popular belief, we don't want a yes man all the time. So we want him to stand up to us, then we would know he would stand up for us.
No, that's a ticklish kind of thing, eh? That's a ticklish thing. Because standing up for us is for you all is one thing.
Oh gosh, no, shucks. Oh, I said that now, and now think of the situation. The other discussion where he stood up for her and did foolishness,
But standing up for is one thing, but standing up to, that's where women have some problem. We have some women with problems because they say they want a man to stand up to them. They say they want a man that, don't take nonsense and that kind of thing. And yet these are the men that they complain about. These are the men that they complain, all they want to do all their own thing, or is all they always right, all they want to do, always listen to us. But the thing about a man, Madonna, is that, as a head, sometimes you have to make decisions that are not always, how should I put it? Not popular. Not popular in the home, not popular with your spouse or your girlfriend or whoever it is. You have to make some unpopular decision. But these are the decisions that get us into trouble. So, it's a kind of balancing act now, excuse me, to try to understand what does a woman mean when she says stand up to me. Because stand up to me saying, even though you say X, if I feel it's Y, then I will say it's Y and not X.
Well, if she respects you as the head, and then you have proven to make good decisions, to be guided by the Holy Spirit, then of course full autonomy, because we understand he is guided by the Holy Spirit, not by flesh. He seeks God for answers in taking the family forward, and therefore we would entrust him with our lives and our children and everything like that. So in that context is where you would have full autonomy, where, like, for example, in the other situation where he's not able to manage money properly and you can't trust him with finances and that kind of thing, then it would be different. And it takes a level as well of humility for a man to say, okay, you good with that, you handle it. Because some, even though they can't handle it just because they are men and they are the head, they want to do it even if it will, go through the holes in the bag.
Interesting. Well, I don't know what our good friend Riquen has to say about that. I don't know if he wants to say anything. Riquen, you can chime in here if you wish. Concerning this particular point, they want a man to stand up for them and to them. What do you think, brother? Well, I'm not hearing Riquen. I don't know if you all are hearing him. Are you all hearing him?
No.
I'm not. Riquen, I don't know if you're muted. Okay, well, maybe it's me here. Maybe let me check here and see. All right, go ahead again, Riquen.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah.
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, great. All right. So, it is understandable that the woman would want her man or her husband to stand up for her. And that is part of the whole element of him being protector and provider and that sort of stuff. He's kind of like a shield in that sense, and looking out for his wife and that sort of stuff. So that is understood and understandable. Mind you, it is not 100% across the board. Because I mean, if the woman is um, quote unquote, you know, doing stupidness, um, you wouldn't stand up for that. You want to stand up for her if she is at risk, if she is um, vulnerable, if she is uh, threatened, etc., etc., etc. Right? Um, but if you know, if she ain't making sense, if what she's standing for is not in alignment with what you all have agreed to as a family, um, or it's just off, then you don't want to stand up for that. Um, as it relates to standing up to, I would want to agree with you, Professor, in that most women, um, that idea of standing up to them is not something that most women embrace. It takes a level of humility to accept that, because for the most part, the man acts in such a way that he wants to please his wife. Or let me put it this way, he doesn't want to displease her. And I think there is a difference. And a lot of men get in trouble because they don't want to displease the wife. And they may actually stand up for them wrongly just because they don't want to displease the wife, or they don't want to get on the wrong side of the wife. And so that is something that you know, as a man, you know, there's this kind of tension or this thin line. You want to please her, or you don't want to displease her, but sometimes you could compromise. And we go all the way back to the beginning, and we see the result of that. So I am all for and totally understand the importance and the need for men, for husbands, to stand up for their wives, and also recognize that there are times when they would need to stand up to their wives. But obviously, at the end of the day, the whole idea behind it is not to be in opposition one to another, because we are supposed to be one. And so if there is an area of disagreement, if there's an area of divergence, we want to, as quickly as possible, get on the same page. We want to be able to reason things out and that sort of stuff. So the platform, I believe, should be laid that if either male or female deviating from what they have agreed to in terms of principle and that sort of stuff, that respectfully either party should be able to point out that, you know, XYZ is the case, you know, how you handle this, or how you dealt with this, or probably consider this perspective a different perspective. So that would be my take on that particular matter.
Thank you, Riquen. I want to ask this question, though, and Madonna, you could chime in as well. Talking about standing up for, if it's a public forum, you know, and the other people are around, and a husband does not agree with his wife, what should he do? What would the wife want him to do? All right, we're in public, we're having a debate, we might be talking about anything. Might be something very important or something, you know, whatever it is, a simple thing. But the husband doesn't agree with the position that his wife has taken. What should he do? Should he stand up for his wife? Should he agree with his wife publicly and then wait until it's private to talk to her? Or should he say, should he take her, you know, should he correct her publicly? Say, I don't agree. Her? Yeah, when I say correct her publicly, I mean this. Let me not say correct her. Disagree with her. Should he publicly disagree with her? All right. For example, we talking about it might be a simple thing. Well, Raymond is in studio and he's wearing a red jersey. And I say that jersey red. And my wife said, no, that's burnt orange. And should I say, oh, yes, it's burnt orange. It's not red. Or should I say, no, honey, that's red. You know, that kind of thing. What is what's the word? That's the rule. What's the rule for something like that? I would love to hear what women think about that. And you represent the woman here tonight, Madonna.
Women calling. I will say, honey, laughing about it. I don't know, maybe we colorblind, so we could always check after and decided the color. I wouldn't lose sleep over that.
All right, well, I gave a simple example, but it might be a little more complex than that.
If it's more complex than that, and I think it's better for him, like I've seen certain men didn't agree with their wives and they would say, I ain't getting into that tonight. Now they laugh it off and they may walk away as well, just to pacify it and not make a big scene, you know what I mean?
Let's hear what this caller has to say. Hello, good evening, you're on the air.
Good evening, Professor. How are you?
Doing good.
Hats off to Madonna. That's nice for inviting Madonna on Man's Talk. I know Men's Talk. And yes, Madonna, you couldn't choose a better co-host and a representative as Madonna. You know, Madonna really represents. This is Lynette, by the way.
Thanks, honey.
The first topic that you all had here before, right? Save for rainy days. I remember my father used to tell us and tell my mom, if we have $100, we can save $5, $10, or even $20. That is what you call savings. And they always have it to say for rainy days. But rainy days, if sickness also would have presented itself on just up, you always have, instead of to run to the neighbor and the neighbors know your business, you always sit down to that money, that little savings. And then, you just come up with it because at some time ago, she used to, really help to stop up a hole, as we would say. Right? The allowance part of it. If I'm getting an allowance, I'm not married, by the way, and my husband chose to give me an allowance, and I decided, hey, Lynette, and Lynette loves to save. I feel like putting on $100 from $300 or $400. It accumulated to a certain amount. My husband and I come and we fall out or we separated. That money belongs to me. But should the husband at the time would have come short of monies, I will go into that said money and help to support the child, the children, and the home on a whole. Right? Pertaining to other monies that they said, okay, women like to save. Right? Women love to save. And something comes up and then you all would have separated. You know that take would be the woman's. Right? That money will go straight to the woman. But if there are kids involved, it goes straight across the board. You have to say about the kids, right? During the separation. And just that topic you just would have spoken about, Professor, I would always believe, I'm an old school. You see, honesty is the best of policy, right? Your wife is doing something that is not right, you cannot say it is right. Two wrongs cannot make a right, vice versa. Right? Right. Two wrongs cannot make a right. Don't cover up. And this is where you see sometimes relationships tend to go down the drain. Right? And I would say with women and men on a whole, respect. You see, respect and love, it makes a relationship go from sky to higher skies, or the clouds. Right? Respect your husband, respect your wife. Love your husband, husband love your wife. Sometimes it's not good to go to sleep with, certain things on your mind. And I know that we women, when we get so angry, we cannot hit the men. We have a tendency to tell them, kind of degrading, respectful things. It is not good. What I have also observed is that if a woman is getting more money than the man, she treats him like a little boy. That is wrong.
Leonard.
Right? Because as I said, you're in a relationship.
Hold up.
50, 100.
Leonard, you hear me?
Right? So women who are in a higher position than your husband, please respect your husband.
Leonard.
Do not try to disrespect or belittle the husband in the public. It does not look good. Right?
Leonard,
and likewise, husband, please love your wife. Don't make a puppy show in the public. Discuss it. Discussion.
Thank you, Leonard.
Right? And that has to make a relationship go smooth.
Thank you.
And once you have the God in the middle there,
Leonard.
He will dissolve all the unhappiness and all the confusion and all the bacchanal.
Karen on her phone.
Right? So you all have a blessed night.
Thank you, Leonard.
Madonna, hats off to you.
Thank you.
And Professor?
Yes, Leonard.
Have a blessed night in Jesus' name. Nice having us on for a time. That's good.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. I don't want us to get away from the topic. I know there's a lot that we can share. I don't want us to get away because there's a lot that we can see. All right. I want us to stick within the topic. So I'm going to, all right, we're going to take this next call. Now, ladies, again, I need, you see the reason why we call it men talk?
Now, let's take in communication one time.
Yeah, I don't want us to get, outside of the bounds of what we're discussing, which women tend to do, and I can say that.
I find Raymond shaking his head.
Yeah,
I don't
women
understand.
tend to do that. That's why. You understand. Okay, let's take this call and then we get back on track. Hello, good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening again.
Good evening.
I feel that dealing with the question at hand, is that the question involved is that the matter should always be settled in public. There is no private business alone settled on the wrong side in the public, and then wait when they go in the bedroom. That's the thing, yes or no. Settle everything in public.
In public first.
And I think that is more. I think that is dealing with respect of each side better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. SNS. Yes, Madonna, back over to you.
Right, we had communication as well. We would want good communicators, and last week you heard me talk about the respect as well,
But what is a good communicator? Is it that I speak proper English? What does that mean? Yeah, no. I mean, you laugh, but we are trying to find out that we want to hear from the ladies, so we need to understand. So when you say a good communicator, what does that mean?
Clarity in your communication. And paying attention to us as well, being proactive. Because when you pay attention to us and you realize, okay, what we would like, and we notice that, and then you become proactive in that light, you understand? So therefore we know that we're the person you're chosen, and you're giving us that kind of attention besides just choosing us.
Listen, let me tell you something, Madonna.
Let me hear.
As a man, I would tell you something. I don't know if Riquen will agree with me with this one. There are some times that we don't notice things because you're talking about paying attention. And I'll give you a classic example. My son, Nicole, and our older son, Joshua, he notices a lot. So if there's something, a different hairstyle or whatever it is with his mother, he would compliment her, he would tell her. I am one who sometimes it's difficult to notice things. And case in point, today, I went somewhere and I came home, and he had to tell me, he said, Daddy, did you notice the curtains change? I didn't notice. I walked through the curtains. And I did not notice that the curtains had changed. He had noticed. So he told me, because he knows his father, so he kind of wanted to give me the heads up. All right? But there are some of us as men, it could be right in front of us, and I don't want you to think that we don't care, or we don't, no, you cannot think that. Don't think that we don't care. It's just that we just don't notice certain things. And it's not all men, but there are men like me. It doesn't mean I don't love you, I don't care. I just didn't notice.
Prof, did you notice when you were courting? I'm sure you would have noticed when you was courting.
Of course, well, that's a different thing.
That is what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
you see, the same attention that you would have given then, it should not have faded away. There should always be a self-check or annual self-check, and these little things make a difference. Because courting, you would have noticed it. You might have even noticed if it long into the ground or if it just midway, all of that, you'd have been more detailed.
Oh my goodness! You know, as you're
I
talking,
find Raymond, I see Raymond hand up like in school.
No, that is important. Hi, just want to ask the question. When you're courting, right? You don't really have children. You don't have responsibility.
Thank
You are the
you.
breadwinner.
Thank you.
You have to go. You have to get it at the end of the day. Unless it's differently. But there are so many other things. So is it that sometimes women don't make the shift to understand that, okay, it's a different dynamics?
No, but we still
No,
have
I just,
this.
no, hear what I'm saying. Is it that you don't make the shift and understand men and women may process things differently, or you expect a man, but you want a man with a woman's mind?
No, we don't. All we are asking, you see, and that is it. The ones who accept what we want, they are the ones who get the women. Because, okay, like he said, when he was courting, he would have noticed a lot more. And with time, probably it faded, and his son now giving him a check. So therefore, you find that he might be more alert still. But it's not that he would have deviated immediately after they just had one child, too. You know, that kind of thing?
So I like when you say that. With time. So it's not intentionally
Correct.
done.
Correct. It's
No,
not intentional.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking because
It
you remember
happens.
we hanging out. We would have spent carefree sometimes. We do more than when you get married. Plus you have children or a child. So the responsibility, and I could be wrong, but men begin to think a certain way, and it's not that they don't care about the other things. But if this thing is important and this is the focus, and especially when the woman technically or directly, or they say indirectly, always happen on it. A man mind will go, okay, God, you're fine. We always traveling, you're fine traveling, picking up real money. And a man mind saying, okay, wait a minute, I need to get a vehicle. I need to get a vehicle. And okay, this salary I'm having, it's not cutting it. Okay, I have to work double. And by doing that, that's just my conversation observation. Other things that women see as important is not the man neglecting it, you know. But he, in his mind, I know this about a friend. And he went on to get the vehicle. And after he got the vehicle, he's like, he saw this woman, you know, she ungrateful.
But that's
because
the
she talk-
communication
no,
part
no,
of
well,
it.
no, I'm saying here
You
this.
see?
Right. So the communication part is also you all telling the man when things that you all need, right, seemingly has lost focus. Because you remember, if you keep saying, Donna, you want this, take directly or indirectly. In a man's mind, he feel that will satisfy you, that will please you,
And
and sometimes he goes after it.
No, but
And
here's
all
what,
is for
that is
you.
why we said, that is why we speak about the communicating part of it, right? So that you would understand if we communicating what we want and what we don't want. And I'm pulling this out of Patrice's hat in the sense of understanding the love languages as well as what will be attracted to us and what will cause us to be drawn. So you shouldn't lose certain things even if after you're courting.
So here what I'm saying
right?
to you.
Because what you're talking about now is responsibilities that
No,
go to
here what I'm
another
saying to you.
level, but he didn't notice just the simple curtains.
No, but you see, you might be saying the curtains is a big thing, but what he was seeing about might be a bigger thing to him towards the
Thank
woman.
you very much.
But he walked through
Thank
the
you
door.
very
Oh, you understand your mind occupied with the
and
other
that's
thing.
it, and that's it,
Yes.
because there's so much on your
That's accent,
mind.
yeah.
There's so much on your mind that you know you're focused on other things. So there are certain things that a woman expects you to see and notice that you may not, and it doesn't mean you don't love her, you don't care. It just means that your mind is not focused there.
But we have a lot of things to focus on as
You
well.
see,
We have to
again,
pack the food. We have to
so
see
why
about the
you want-
children.
okay.
We have to see about the lunches. We have to wash the clothes. We have to,
So it is wrong in,
You understand?
in communicating. Is it wrong now and then to jilt his mind? Just in a nice, loving,
Well, I'm
caring
glad his son
conversation?
did that.
No, not his son. I talk about the woman. For his son. You see?
You see, I love the son. The son.
No, wait. And my thing is this, because you will talk, sometimes women talk with everybody else but the man. Their friend know what he don't see, and then sometimes that is where the bond, because the friend now just pick it up and start to communicate with the man.
Oh, yeah, that problems.
And sometimes, all right, nice. So we can go there. So I feel, honestly, I think sometimes we train and develop mindsets to say, well, if you're not seeing that, you're not doing it, you are a big man, I'm not reminding you.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
what
is
they say.
icing communication to me.
Yeah.
All right. So what
right.
I said, one of the things was communication.
Yeah, we want to hear from Riquen.
Riquen
hear from
help with the communication because that will help clarify
Let's Riquen
everything
communicate to
here.
us. Go ahead, Riquen.
All right. You guys hearing?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Okay. All right. So good communication. That is what Madonna mentioned, right? Good communication. Now, again, every couple is different. We learn about effective communication. So what may work for one couple may not work for another couple. So we talk about love languages, and everybody is, all gaga about love languages, but basic English language, we have to master in terms of what we understand by the words that we use, how we use them, and so on. And what is important, I believe, is saying what you need to say, one, but not just you saying what you need to say or what you think needs to be said, but also understanding what the other person is seeking to transmit or seeking to communicate. That is what makes the communication good or effective.
Right.
In other words, what you're saying, I must understand that is what you mean. And that does not always happen. And so one of the things that needs to happen in the course of the conversation is obtaining clarity or clarification. Am I understanding you correctly? Is this what you're saying? Or is this what you mean by what you're saying? And you may find that one party may impute a meaning to what is said that is totally different to what the other party actually means. And so I believe that the issue of clarifying, asking the question, babes, okay, so you said so and so and so, but this is what I heard. Is this what you mean by what you said? And that in itself requires patience. It requires work. And I want to make this point as I say work. Going back to the issue you guys were discussing just now, in terms of before the marriage, there are things that you would notice and that sort of stuff. And I tend to agree with the guys in that before the marriage, your focus again is on pleasing the woman, and so you would do certain things to please her or not to displease
So
her.
you stop pleasing her after you get married?
Wait, now let me communicate what he's saying. Go ahead, Riquen, communicate.
There is a focus on that, right? There's a focus on that. When we enter into the marital arena and all the other different variables of life come into play, it requires more work. And that is where I want to underline. It requires more work to be able to maintain
that
what
level of
we
focus.
have obtained.
Yes.
And that work must be not a one-person effort. It must be both parties putting in the work that is required. And sometimes that is a lot easier said than done. And things end up lost in transmission, as we go about life, and we don't take time to deal with certain things. So if the couple, for example, had a routine before they got married, good communication would dictate that, okay, during marriage, we want so and so and so. We want this to continue. If we want this to continue, then both of us have our respective roles to play to ensure that continues. So if we used to date, I don't know, once a week or whatever, in marriage, we may not be able to date once a week, but we may be able to do it maybe twice a week, once a month. Once we agree to that, then that is what we should both be working towards. And I think that's that's where the whole communication issue comes in. And a big part of it, of course, is the listening aspect. And
That's what
I
a woman wants to
suspect
say in those things. We have it here. You see? Very good, Riquen. I
Yeah,
applaud
but
you.
listen, folks. You see, this communication thing will always be an issue between men and women because we tend to be more straightforward. We hear what you say. Sometimes women want us to hear what they don't say and what they're not saying.
Nah, that's
And
not
because I'm telling you, you all expect us to read your minds, and you think, well, you're supposed to know me. You're supposed to know your wife. Listen, there's a simple, a little story. I know you might have heard this before. This woman calls her husband. She said, honey, when they come home, I want you to pass in the supermarket and buy a tin of condensed milk. And if they have avocados, buy 4. He comes home with 4 tins of condensed milk. And she mad, she vexed. You know, come, I tell her buy 1 tin of condensed milk. And he says, well, you tell me if it have avocados, buy 4. They had avocados. All right? So he bought the 4 tins of condensed milk. Now, communication, he hears literally what she says. He don't want to have to go and interpret what she means and all of that. So it's a simple thing. We hear differently, and we men tend to take things literally. All right, but women wants us to read between the lines and understand and all, and you know.
They
so
said
that is
listen,
why.
listen. They said to listen to how they express themselves and be patient. That's what they said. They said, Madonna, please let them know that we want to be able to express ourselves. Tell them to be patient and to also encourage us in fulfilling our God-given purpose.
And we don't do that.
Well,
Is that what they're saying?
That's
Men
what
don't do that?
I took notes, I tell you.
Anyway, folks,
that's about 3 different. That's about 3 different.
But what
points
you were
being
saying,
made there.
Riquen, fell in place with the communicating and expressing yourself and listening as well, because that is actually the order I had it in. So it's like you was reading my book.
Before we continue, folks, if you've just joined us, you're listening to Men Talk on Isaac 90.1 FM, The Promise FBN TV, and Isaac The Promise Facebook page. Now, we have lots of WhatsApp messages going back. Let me just see if I could squeeze in some of them because we would have not acknowledged them before. There are some voice notes we're not able to play right now, but let me see. Amanda Roberts. Ooh, wow. That's quite a lot. Women love and respect and appreciate. Women love, respect, and appreciate a woman. Woman won't. Okay, it's too much and it's broken up. So I'll come back to that one. Professor now explaining. Probably Madonna is fully right. Whatever he gives me is mine. Amen, amen, and amen. Professor now explaining properly. Giselle said, "Listen." Always hesitant to listen during the conversation. I'm not sure where that came in. Wendy Hazel Holder. Good evening, Professor Madonna. Having all the facts and money for both of them. Professor, it will depend on the forum and the consequence to disagree. All right, so I hope you all could put these things in perspective because we're reading some of these after the fact. Josephine Guy says, good evening, Madonna. I agree with you. Well, you're a woman. I expect you to agree with her. Madonna's spelling for herself, probably speaking for herself. I do not agree 100% with her views. We women are guilty of the same things we complain about our husbands. Season change, we both need to understand that. Or we are speaking about, yes. Speaking, Keisha from New York says, but in the woman's mind, keeping the home is a big deal for us. Don't downplay it like that your task is more important. Nah, that ain't right. We're not downplaying women's roles at all. Auntie Gail said most men are colorblind. Auntie Gail. Most men are colorblind. Most men don't pay attention. I second Madonna. Auntie Gail. How you can say we colorblind? Okay. Okay, that's it for now. There are some voice notes, but we'll have to hook up to play the voice notes. No. So let's continue. So communication, Madonna, is
communication is a big thing.
Communication is a big thing. Okay. So we'll see if we could organize to play the voice notes. First, women, if you can send us text messages rather than the voice notes, it would be a little more helpful to us right now because I can't explain all the technical thingamajigs that they have to do to put in place. So anyway, it's 9 o'clock. We still have half an hour to go, and we still want to hear from you as well. I know Riquen was saying something just now. I don't know if you were completed with what you were saying, Riquen, because I think you were saying they were making about 3-4 points. Madonna was making about 3-4 points or something like that. But anyway, excuse me, let's continue, Madonna. So what else are the women saying that they want from us men? What?
So they'd like you to listen to us. Well, you know they say women speak 120 words, men only speak 60, right?
No. It's not 50. It's not twice the amount. No, you all speak a whole lot more. It's a whole lot more, I'm telling you. And the thing is about women are allotted a certain amount of words per day. So they must complete that allotment. Must. We men could go through a whole day and say nothing. Not a woman. But anyway, go ahead.
So that's the reason they would want you all to listen to us express ourselves. If you can't do that, because, you know, we trust your judgment and your opinion and what you said. So actually, one woman said, actually, we would appreciate it if you all would encourage and speak well of her when she does things, not only the negative things.
Well, I could understand that. I mean, yeah, men, and I hope men are listening. Women need to be appreciated, and when they do good things, yeah, you talk about it. I boast about my wife all the time. You know, what she does, what she can do, and I know it makes a woman feel good to know that her husband or her significant other boasts about us. We accept that. And if there are men who are not doing that, men, then pay attention. It's important to a woman that you speak well of her. I mean, we want that as well. We want our women to say good things about us. You know, not that worthless man I have there, you know, he don't do this and he don't do... We don't want our wives to be making those kind of, those statements, that kind of thing. So we hear you. We hear you.
And also, she would like this person, she would like that person to be a leader as well, and to take charge and not be a walkover.
Isn't that the same point that you all were making before about speaking up, speaking to, and speaking for? What was the point again? Standing up to and standing up for. Standing up for. So you want the man to take charge. And again, I say that is the source of some issues that we have. Because when the men take charge, you all want us to take charge and do what you want. All right? You want us to... Yeah, and that's the point. You don't want us to take charge. You want us to represent you.
I'm being real.
Because I have been searching it. Is there a particular definition for take charge? Break it down, because that is important.
Exactly.
Madonna?
Exactly.
When
what does it mean?
Take charge, what do you mean? Because that is important.
Well, take charge means be accountable, be responsible, be decisive, know what you want, not be all over the place. So like if you said, you know, some men are intimidated by their friends to try to make them feel that there's not this cohesion with their wives, right? So if they go in online and their wife didn't know that they were going X and Y, and they say, okay, well, I just, let my wife know. And the brothers will be like, yeah, let your wife know, And instead of he saying yes, he might say, okay, no, I don't have to. and then say nothing. And then wife worried, she don't know. But he deviated from their whole day plan now because they're partners. And that happens because men as well go through peer pressure from other men, right? And therefore, he needs to stand up and say, well, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I can see Kieran doing that. I had to call my wife, you know what I mean? And let her know. And he would go, yes, but he's letting his wife know. He's letting you know, he letting your wife know too. You know, but there are some men that won't do that.
I think that has to do with men understanding who they are, and not letting other men, other people define them. I would tell my wife, in fact, I tell my wife wherever I go.
Right.
If I am in here, and I'm saying it publicly, if I am in the studio here and I'm going outside in the road, somebody come to me. I pick up the phone and, honey, somebody outside to me, and I'm going out there now. I don't see anything wrong with it. Because somebody pass and say, hey, I see your husband outside. She'll say, yeah, I know. And even if she doesn't know, she will say that. But the point is, there's nothing wrong because we allow people to define our relationship.
Yeah.
We allow people to tell us
And
what
that
we
is,
can
yeah.
and cannot do in our relationship. But as a man, you have to be confident enough to know this is a woman. We are accountable to each other, you know.
Right.
We are accountable to each other. And this is a woman that I'm accountable to. I might be responsible for her as the head, but I'm also accountable to her, to her because the marriage is a covenant, it's a partnership. And both of us are accountable to each other. If you look in Ephesians, it says we ought to submit to one another. So, I have no problem, and I hope men are listening. I have no problem with calling and tell my wife, hey, I'm going out with the boys, or going lineman, or going here, or doing this, or doing that, because she needs to know. She needs to know where I am. And it doesn't make me less of a man if I call my wife to tell her, I am going somewhere. And I hope men are listening and understanding because we tend to take this foolishness from other men that we're being less than a man if we have to give an account. Giving an account is a good thing. It's a responsible thing.
And in the time of technology, and there are malicious and mischievous people out here. And so you decide, you said to the wifey, you're going Westmall. Let me get a mile free yard. But for some reason, you have a change of mind and you end up long circular. Now, while you're in long circular, you might bounce up a friend or no. And somebody who see that, maybe your wife friend passing, and see that and say, hey, girl, I see John on long circular mall today, and he was with the shreds. And sometimes they know, once you hear the word reds, that reason the hair rush of blood. And now, it die pressure. Because just today I was looking at a scenario. But I think the guy set himself up, right? And people are meeting each other and they are friends on the social media. So they're meeting in public or they bounce up in public. And he bounced up this person who does chat and his wife's not into the social media thing. And they exchange numbers and, she went on, somebody took a little picture and a video and she went on to search and she put it up like fun. Help me to find this man.
What?
Someone of a friend saw the video before she saw it and sent it to her. And it was real war. And he said, listen, is an influencer that we met and, there's a physical arrangement where everybody met. It wasn't anything to it. But if he had said that before, even after, even though you bounce up and say, hey, listen, why you bounce up today? So. To me, it might have put an ease and a rest because sometimes they don't say they're insecure, but yes, sometimes they have their own challenge of insecurity. But accountability is healthy because even the time we live in now, if they see a certain time and they don't see you, then okay, well, that's not the pattern of pro. I have to be a little concerned about it, yeah?
I like what he said there, changing even going to different malls because just like he said, that happens there. And if she had even called switching, to say, well, okay, we're not going there again, we're going so. At least she would have known that
right.
he went to the other mall or he would be there, that kind of thing. So it wouldn't be, and I think that is what probably would have upset her, the element of surprise. Because he told me he was in one place and then that kind of would bring the distrust in and is he being truthful and all that kind of thing and how long, how much times he do this and all those kinds of things. So to avoid all those questions, they are talking about being authentic, being transparent. That's one of the things here.
I see Riquen Sanders. Just before Riquen come in, let me just say this quick because I don't want to forget it. One of the things I practice not to do, all right, and I want to encourage people not to do it as well. You see this thing about, hey, I see your husband on the road, girl, or I see your wife across so and so. Why do we do that? Because we don't know what kind of problems we could be causing when we do that. This thing, but I see your wife, I was in the mall today, I bounced up your wife, or I see your wife with somebody, and it could be a very innocent thing, and you could cause so much problem. Listen, I do not tell people I see their husband or the wife anyway, I don't do that. I don't care how innocent it is. Even if I bounce up your husband today and you and I talking, let him tell you that, not me. I'm not going to tell you, because these things could cause problems. So I just thought I should mention that. Riquen, over to you.
Yes. So the women want a lot from the men.
I'm glad you're saying that. Yes.
And listen, to be honest, is nothing outside of what we're supposed to be providing anyway. Um, but I want to make this point that a lot of times, um, so we see each other, we develop liking for one another and so on, but we have habits as individuals that do not foster and facilitate some of these same things that we want to see. So, for example, if a man or a woman is not accustomed being accountable as a single person, say to his parents or to somebody else in the home, when you come into a relationship, there's a habit you now have to develop. And a lot of times, we enter into the relationship with some gaps. We enter into the relationship with bad habits. And then there's the expectation that things would change overnight or they would change quickly. And I just want to say that both men and women need to be very mindful that if we want a certain type and quality of relationship, then we have to become the persons that will foster that type of relationship. And so I come back to the point that there is work that we need to do. As individuals, we need to work on ourselves and developing the right habits. Those accountability habits. If you're not accustomed doing that, then it doesn't matter how much you say you love the woman. That habit is not in you. You have to cultivate it. And so there are a lot of us, men and women, yeah, I say, who are in relationships, but we do not have the habits that are required to facilitate and foster the quality of relationships that we desire to have. And so I would want to encourage us, as men and as women, that if you want a certain quality of relationship, then work on yourself. Work on developing these different habits and these different attributes and so on. And the more you could do while you're single, the better. Because in the marriage, as I made it quite some time ago, is a whole lot easier, or it's a whole lot harder to fix a house that you're living in.
I like that. Yeah. So much harder to fix a house that you're living in. Listen to one this text message. After the wedding, men become monsters. They say things we should have done before the marriage, and it was fine. Saying the same things now annoying them. Stoops. These are mere monsters, Christians or not. Well, this person have probably have had some bad. Is this my Yeah, she's yeah. The person is saying that men become monsters when they get married, and this sounds by this person have probably had a bad experience. Someone says they're enjoying the topic, they're loving it. The next person says, my husband is a talker, I'm an observer, Auntie Gail. Next one says, too many relationships are fractured by partners fighting to be right instead of fighting to ensure each other's feeling and understood. Men think and women speak. A little more introspection for women and a little more speaking. What's on the mind for men can bring the best balance. Men complain that women expect them to be mind readers when they themselves don't always explain or express their thoughts, assuming that it's obvious. Example, I'm working to provide the car payments are more important than new curtains, etc. Interesting. Okay, so these are some of the They said the guest Riquen is soft on Facebook. I'm not sure.
Someone has a question on Facebook, and it happens all the time with the mother-in-law. But take the call.
All right, let's take a call first. What am I doing here? All right, hello. You're on.
Hello?
Yes.
Why is it that if it is that due to the appreciation of him, even though I tell my wife, well, look, she expects me to be a certain place, at least, I get to other places. So why I have to call her and tell her I get to do a small again, you know. I go down now. Why did I have to, and if I don't do that, I'm something wrong. What happens to your mother?
So what you're saying?
The wife have to understand that these things will take place at times. People are outside, and there might be one place, and due to appreciation of friends, I may end up to other places at the time according to the time. I don't have to call you and tell you everything all the time, man.
Okay. So, but let me ask you a question though. So you would call your mother and tell her?
Huh?
You would call your mother and tell her that?
Well, you send me. You send me.
No, but you just asked. You asked the question.
You won't call your mother. You won't call your mother. So why you should have to call? And if I don't call you and tell you, well, look, I'm to other places, or different other places, that's where you expect it to be, on something wrong.
All right.
That's nonsense.
Okay.
That is nonsense.
Thank you very much. So we'll respond to you. Thank you. Yes, Raymond, you were going to say.
No, I was just going to ask him if he would like his child to treat with him that way. So if you change him from the West to inform him what's going on. So I get
it's called accountability. There's nothing wrong with it. And if your relationship is such that your wife doesn't mind you not calling, well, that's your relationship. That's between you and your wife. But you know what we are saying, that as men, we are supposed to be responsible and we are accountable to each other. And if I am going one place and I change location, then it's good for me to call and say, look, listen, I'm not here anymore. I'm across there. You see, we men tend to think that when we do that, we are less of a man. And people tend to make us want to feel that. But my wife is important. It's important for me to tell her where I am. It's important, same way if she is doing that and she's changing location, I expect that she should call me, or that she would call me and let me know. And I would want to do the same for her. Right? It's mutual respect. So, but again, if in your relationship you your wife doesn't have a problem with it, then fine. If that works for you, then fine. And it may be that your wife may be saying, well, it's okay, you know, no problem, because she knows how you feel about it. But I'm saying, as a man, as a real man, you should be accountable for wherever you are. Nothing is wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. Let's take another call. We're running out of time, but let's take another call. Hello, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening. Interesting topic tonight, I must say. I would say this. I actually agree with you all. And in my last relationship, I thought differently. In that I didn't think I had to be accountable to anybody. I am my own man. Yes, we may have been together, living together, whatever. But you can't tell me that. Because my life is such that I may decide to, let's say, go West Mall. And I will tell you, hey, you know, I'm going to West Mall, I have to pick up X, Y, and Z. But then I realized, you know, long circle, I have it cheaper. Let me just dock in long circle instead. And then for some reason I might end up in Trinity more because I remember I had to pick up something else. And it's only when I had to sit down and, you know, they explain, it's not that I'm being fast, I want to know who you're seeing or not seeing. It's a safety issue. Crime right now is at an all-time high, one. Let's just say something happens to the vehicle, two. You understand? A host of different things could happen. So I am concerned about it. And it's only when it was shown in that light to me, I was like, you know, it's true. And then, of course, you know, they're throwing the whole, well, you know, I just need to make sure that you're doing not decide, ha, ha, ha. But, I mean, that was just a joke. But generally, it's a safety issue. In hindsight, when I look at it now, because I'm a little bit more mature, it's a respect issue as well, because I would want to know where my partner is as well.
Yes.
I want to know, and again, also for safety reasons, couple of the fact that I like knowing, because we know how our people are. They love a bacchanal. So they would say, you know, I see so and so and so and so. I need to be able to say yes or no.
Yeah.
And say it confidently enough that if somebody comes at me with nonsense, I can say, you know, you're lying. Because, you know, they will never do that. Or I know they tell me they was going here and there. You understand? So for all the men that listening, it's not a matter of the wife just being fast. And it's a matter of safety. It's a matter of respect.
And it builds trust. It builds trust as well.
Correct. You're very correct.
Yeah.
Very correct. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you very much. Yes, Madonna.
Trust and accountability. I'm glad because, you know, it's coming out there and it's not a fight not to accept it, but I'm glad you're saying, you know, yes, it should be accepted. The person who called quickly, he sounded like the gentleman with the issue with the money. So therefore, if he had no problem, if he has a problem with calling her, then he shouldn't have a problem with her saving and he doesn't know. Just putting that plug in there. And somebody's asking someone is asking should a man let his wife know that he's calling his mother, and how often should he call his mother?
What is he calling his mother for?
And should he be discussing their personal business with his mom? And that's what I was talking about last week. We didn't want that mama's boy kind of thing where everything has to happen. You have to pass my mom to eat before you come home. And what is all of that about? And you're married.
Why you see, that's another discussion, and I'm sure Riquen will have a lot to say about that too, about bringing the in-laws into your responsibility. The scripture talks about a man leaving his father and mother and cleaving to his wife. One you leave and one you cleave to. When we do it in reverse order, where we leave in our wife and cleaving to our parents for their advice and, you know, what mommy thinks, and, you know, that we are actually breaking down the marriage. We are actually doing things in reverse. And that is the source of a lot of issues in marriages, where the in-laws come in and they play a more important role in the life of one of the persons, you know, the parents, and sometimes even the in-laws as well. Okay, so we want to build relationships between husbands and wives, between male and female. And if it is that, you know, something happens and I have to call my mother, I have to call my father, it says something. Especially for a man, it says a lot. All right, because a marriage is a covenant with these two people and God. And, you know, I don't know. I know when you walk down the aisle, your father takes the woman's hand and puts it in the hand of the man, and, you know, he's actually saying, okay, that's your responsibility. No, don't call me. Only call me if, you know, you all have a crisis and you all both agree. And that's how it is supposed to be, as far as we know.
Well, people hand in hand, but not mind. And that is really important. So the pre is important. I mean, some people say, well, I'm already there. But I think in the multitude of counsel is safety. And if it irritating you and it agitating you and it causing you to become upset, rather than the wedge, whether it wedge and further the relationship, I think you can seek counseling. Because that's important. I think what has happened to when you have adults going to get married, there are some counselors who don't look at these things at all. Right? Because they're just happy, listen to me, finally we're going to get married. You understand? But these things are important, as Riquen was saying earlier. If you don't practice it before, then when you get in, who says it's going to just fall in automatically?
Okay. Well, we still have a couple of WhatsApp messages. People just agreeing and, you know, saying a valid point. You all seem to have an issue with Mama Boy. Do you expect Madonna to have issues with Daddy's girls? And we have a message here from Kieran, but I can't. I'm trying to play it, but I'm not getting it. So I don't know if Kieran, good evening to you, Kieran Fritz, and we try and play that voice note. Well, Riquen has been quite quiet over the last few things. So, Riquen, is there anything you want to add here? You want to, well, before that, let's see if we could get the WhatsApp to play. All right, we're trying to get Kieran's WhatsApp. Okay, let's go now. All right, no, it's not coming through. I don't know why it's not coming through. All right. So, and we don't have much more time anyway. So, Kieran, you could give us a call, man. Call us. Call us. Your number 463-7208 480-4121. 463-728-480-4121. All right. So, I'm not sure what Kieran wanted to say. Well, I hope it's not anything personal and we try to play it in the air. So, folks, we're running out of time. Right? The topic tonight, in case you I'm trying. It was a question you don't still have issues with that. These girls. Yeah, we're running out of time, and the topic for tonight is really what women want. We're trying to find out from them, because there's this issue that we fight against each other. Because we don't understand each other. Women don't understand what men want. Men don't understand what women want, and that's why we brought in Madonna to speak on behalf of the women, to tell us so that we could have an idea of what women are thinking, what they are saying about what we men are doing or not doing. And that's why she's here tonight. We have a few more minutes to perhaps take one, maybe two more calls, and then we wrap up tonight. But Madonna, is there anything else that
I just have two more things in closing, which is obviously, we want a man of God, attraction, humor, that chemistry, that harmony as well,
Yeah, harmony. They want a man who harmony. Yeah. Go ahead. Yes.
And must have a sense of humor, must, be able to make us laugh.
Listen, I think that is so important. Believe you me. I pray every day, say, God, I want laughter in my home. I like to see people laugh. I like to hear people laughing. I'm not a comic or a comedian. We're not talking about, stand up and doing stand-up joke. But it's nice to, you can't laugh and cry at the same time, unless you laugh until you cry. But, laughter is so good. And I think it's good in relationship if you can make each other laugh. I think that is so, so important. It brings people closer together. And it creates, more love. An atmosphere, where you can communicate and you can really thrive together when you can laugh together. I think that's important. Yeah? So, Madonna, I want to say thank you. I don't know if Riquen has anything to say at this, but in fact, let me allow Riquen to make some closing remarks, because I know we've been doing a lot of talking, and I know he's been having his input. But I want to ask you, Riquen, at this time, anything you want to say in closing concerning what we've been discussing tonight?
Sure. I've enjoyed tonight's meeting, conversation. One of the things that I can recall Madonna mentioning is you want men to be honest and open. Well, you did mention transparent. So I think that, right. Now, that could be another issue, because when the men start to speak their mind, sometimes what you want is to hear favorable stuff. But I think it's important to leave room for your man or your husband to be open and also to be vulnerable. There are a lot of men who would like to be vulnerable with their spouses, with their significant others. You should be able to share your fears, should be able to share your concerns. And as a woman, you could take that and not use it as ammunition against him, but you can lift up his hand, you can encourage him, you can pray with him, etc., etc., etc. That's one. And secondly, I just want to remind us of 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter. And if we go through that chapter and we look at the list that Madonna would have provided for us, they pretty much harmonize. So if we are seeking to operate by love, then we would basically cover what is being required of us. And there's not anything that is too hard or too difficult once we follow the rule of love. So with that, I would want to say thanks for the opportunity and bid farewell to TNT.
Thank you. Madonna, Closing remarks.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity of being on Men Talk in 2022, post-COVID. I don't know if it had a COVID, if women would have been on Men Talk and able to speak. So, ladies, as we work towards, bringing that cohesiveness between male and female, it's a lifelong journey. And as women, we continue to learn. And like my pastor says as well, I remember in a women conference, women speak when the Holy Spirit guides you as well. And it's not what we say, but how we say it. And as we grow older, we learn a lot more. And the younger persons are learning early. So you're getting some gems that some of us got a little later. So cherish it, use it, apply it. It works.
Indeed.
So have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madonna. Thank you so much to Riquen and to Raymond O'Keel. This brings us to the end of Men Talk for this evening. We will be back with you next week, Saturday at 8 o'clock. We're here every Saturday at 8 from 8 to 9:30 as we deal with men's issues, or we deal with issues from a male perspective. What we have done for the last 2 weeks, last week and this week, we have more or less created history in that we've had a woman, guesting with us, so that we could bring on another perspective, because they've been saying for so long that we really don't understand what they want. And, so we want to say thank you so much for Madonna for bringing that female perspective, helping us to understand what the women want. So people, thank you so much. God bless you. This is the end of Men Talk for today. I'll be here with you. The solo is not here this evening, so I'm with you straight on until midnight. So invite you to stay with us and say thank you. So we want to say thank you so much to our sponsor, the Feet Lady, Anaya Tony. God bless you. Have a good night. Last Saturday on Men Talk, we asked the question, what do women want from us men? This Saturday, we continue the discussion with our returning guest, woman of promise, MadonnaJ. We also want to answer the question, a woman has been putting aside money for a rainy day unknown to her husband, and it has accumulated to a tidy sum. The relationship